Hello again, everybody. Welcome to another video here. Trying to do as many of these as possible. It's a lot of fun. And in today's episode, we're going to cover analog, all about analog versus digital. And specifically today, we're going to be covering the SSL 9000, the Super 9000 Super Analogue channel strip. You know that this product was made by men because men love Super 9000 everythings. You know, everyone in Harry Potter was super excited for the Nimbus 2000, but when the Nimbus 3000 came out, everyone had to have that. So then it was the Super Nimbus 3. I don't know. Anyway, so we're comparing the Super 9000 Super Analog channel strip. I'll put a little photo up on the screen now for you to see what I've got there. I've got two channel strips, so I can run it in stereo. That's the downside of analog, obviously. And we're going to compare it with the plugin, with the Waves plugin. I'll also just put a photo up of the plugin and the settings, and we're going to see, you know, what is the difference? Is there a difference? And if there is a difference, what is the difference? And is it better? Is it worse? Is it just different? That's what we're going to cover today. And you know, we're going to primarily focus on how it sounds on drums. So I've basically just got this modern and massive kit here, really nice from Get Good Drums. Obviously, just an awesome kit. The kit preset I'm using is called explosive and heavy, and I've just like tweaked it a little bit. I think I just raised the kick drum a little bit here and there. Just excellent, really nice. I think it's pretty much the best drum product out there. Let's have a look. I just dragged in a couple of grooves here. This is what I rendered into mono and stereo audio. Processed a mono version, and I also processed a stereo version. So these are the two. I've got the two mono tracks here. One is the plugin, one is the SSL analog, and then I've done it in stereo as well, just to sort of just be as comprehensive as possible. This is what it sounds like out of Modern and Massive. Let's have a listen. Okay. Okay, so that's it, just coming out of Modern and Massive, right? So what I did was I rendered a mono file of that. I mean, you can see here, I literally just put on mono, rendered that, and then obviously I did a stereo. So down here we've got the mono tracks and the stereo. So I think we'll start with the mono. Let's start with this first file, and at the end of the video I'm going to tell you guys which is which, okay? Which is the mono plugin, which is the mono analog, and the same for the stereo, okay? So let's have a listen to, I'll play it through a couple of times, flicking between it, just switching, and please, you guys tell me in the comments what you think. Like, do you think number one is the plugin, number two the analog, or you know, you guys tell me what you think. And of course, at the end of the video, I'm going to show you and reveal which is which. So let's play the first mono track. And I will just alter in between this one and the next one. One of them's plugin, one of them's SSL. So let's go for it. Okay, very interesting. I have gain matched this stuff, guys. I mean, I promise you I have. You can see in the waveform here, these waveforms are practically identical in volume. I have gain match them in perceived loudness. I really have. I really obsessed over it to make sure that we're not fooling ourselves. I mean, these waveforms are really, really similar. Hey, I mean, look at that. I hear quite a big difference though, especially in this first little groove pattern. The halftime pattern's a little bit harder to hear, but let's just go through the first groove again here. I'm hearing quite a big difference. So that's the mono tracks. Let's go through the stereo, and then I can tell you guys which is which and what I think in terms of what are the differences. Do I think it sounds better? Let's go through the stereo tracks here. Let's start with the stereo track number 1, and yeah, I'll basically just swap between the two. I can hear a bigger difference on the stereo channel, to be honest. There's a much bigger difference. And I can tell you guys that on the first set of tracks here, I'll just quickly play them again for you so you can get an idea. These are the monos. I can tell you guys and reveal that the first file here is the Analog SSL. Okay, the second one is the plugin. Let's have another listen here. Let's listen to the kick drum. Now, plugin. I actually can probably hear the biggest effect in the snare. I think the analog is just giving a little bit more weight in the bottom end as well. I think the signals maybe are just a little bit more compressed. I think in the analog domain we can always hear the effects of analog mostly in compression rather than like EQ. I think is a little. There still is a difference, but I think in compression we can really hear the difference. Okay, and then in the stereo files, number 1 was the plugin, and number 2 was the analog. Did you get it right? Let's have one more listen here to number 1, the plugin, and then I'll flick between the two because number 2 is the analog hardware. Plugin. Plugin sounds much thinner to me on the stereo because obviously there's more information. There's like basically twice as information, so we can. I think the effects are almost doubled in terms of the stereo file. I like the analog. I just do. Maybe it's just because the unit is so shiny and expensive and awesome to use. But I do just objectively or subjectively both prefer the analog. I think there's a lot more lower end presence. There's a lot more punch. I think the snare sounds better, especially in the stereo file. Listen to the plugin in, and I copied the settings as identical as I could. Again, I'll throw up the pictures here again just to show you guys that I really did like dial these in as much as I could. On the plugin on the stereo file, there's like these sort of, I don't really like the mid-range. I don't really like what it does to the mid-range, and it loses a lot of punch. Listen to the mid-range on the stereo file here on the plugin. Sounds a bit thin. Let's go to analog. Yeah, on the kick, I think actually on the analog, I just prefer it on the analog here. Got more punch. Back to plugin. Yeah, the kicks, that kick just sounds way better on the analog and the stereo file. It's a really cool comparison to do. I mean, I love doing these kind of comparisons. Which is better? I think it is subjective. I would personally choose the analog. I'm not just trying to be one of those analog fanboy guys just because I have it. I genuinely feel that the analog just sounds better. I do. That's what I would use in a mix. That's what I would use in if it was my own track. And it's a lot of fun to use. So I'm not saying that the plugin's bad. I think the plugin does a great job. It's just a bit thin. With a couple of tweaks to the plugin, I think you could get quite close. I think you definitely get quite close. Not exactly, but look, man, the plugins nowadays are just so good. The stuff from Waves, UAD, and actually even the SSL stuff that now SSL actually releasing their plugins, which I think are really good. So I mean, yeah, all comes down to preference. Against I really like the analog. I think it sounds great. We'll definitely do more of these. I'll expand into a part 2, 3, and 4. And, we'll do vocals. We'll do the test and comparison on, bass and guitars. We'll do the rest, and on different types of material. This is just sort of a primer on drums to keep the video kind of short and sweet. But I like these kind of comparisons. I think they're helpful, and it gives a good insight into, you don't always need the best output gear to get something good. But I hope you guys like the video. I will be back with more soon. And take care, and I'll see you later.